Mr. Speaker, colleagues on the government side, you know, the last two presentations, or in fact the two presentations by the opposition so far in this debate, is basically about theatrics and drama. You know, the thing is, I know one of your MP, the one that started off the debate, was looking for artificial tears last night in 3 drugstores on the East Bank. And thankfully, well, perhaps it would have been more helpful to make sure that she had access to that tube of artificial tears. It is not about how much you can dramatize. It's not about how much theatrics you hold or possess that would make a difference in terms of the debate. It is about people being able to understand the reality of any given situation that you wish to present to them. And a lot of what have been said here today is really far away from the reality, far-fetched, so much so. One of your MPs said, sugar, MP Nima flew best. Sugar now is how much? A pound of sugar is how much now? $400. I sent in Maka a 5-pound pack of sugar from Maka just a short while ago. 5-pound sugar is $800. She said 1 pound was $400. A pound of sugar, $160. Coming out of Maka, I thought it would be best to buy it from Maka because she lives there. This is what? Straight out of Maka. The oil that she said is $800, $400. $400. If we could go with issues like these with an intention of misleading people, ordinary people.
Honorable Minister, you have to use a better word than misleading, right? Than misleading. It's imputing.
I apologize, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister, I'll give you back your time. Let me apologize to the Honorable Acting Prime Minister, Anil Nandalal, for not recognizing him this morning.
We cannot come here and tell stories that don't represent the reality. And we can't come here and pretend that something is what it is not. And this is how you have succeeded and survived for many years. Thankfully, these days are much more enlightened days. Much more enlightened. And we're being watched all across the world on social media and other platforms. And if you, anyone, sitting here not knowing what happens here in Guyana, would go away with the impression that the cost of living issue is so damning and the most horrible situations exist in Guyana, and only Guyana. This is a worldwide phenomenon. We as a government has owned this issue. We've been speaking about it. We have addressed these issues. That's why you've seen us all over this country over and over. You think it's just for the purpose of cameras? This is because we want to be in touch with people. We want to feel what people are feeling. We want to know what they're feeling. And it's by those many engagements, hundreds upon hundreds by now, each minister in this room by now have been on more than 200 outreaches, each minister across this country. Each minister. And that is because we are available to the people, to work with the people, to find solutions to the people, whether it be cost of living, climate change, whether it be any issue that affects any part of our society or our country. We move around. That's how we know who owns courts on that side. We move around. That's why we know who beat up the husband on that side. We move around. That's why we are familiar with the issues. Because people meet us and they tell us and they keep us informed, up to date, and engaged on all of these issues. Why should we come here? And you know, it is, more of it is coming. More of the theatrics. You got the catty use and all the others who will come with a fancy sounding language. Oh my God. Wow. And you will tend to believe a nice British halfway Guyanese accent. But they're coming here to cacophile you with a lot of, that's who they are. That is what makes them who they are. And they survived with that type of language for many, many years. Many, many years. But we know where the GT&T money went, whose bank account. We can tell you more. There's not so much in the budget. This is crucial issues, yes, a lot more. These are crucial issues. Julius is right here. He is here. Julius is here. And now, you and Nigel is the same thing anyway, but the IDB never ruled that the Mile Falls was not feasible. I don't recall that, and I don't know that to be any truth.
They voted against the Mile.
They voted against the Mile Fall project.
That's true.
And then they also had an extortion scheme with Fit Motilal. You remember who was Fit Motilal? Person doing the PR? Those people over there. The woman with an English accent. Yes. You know, where are the animals that were killed in Makkah? I would like to see them. Let's go there and exhume them now. This is how these people, I saw this thing on Facebook one Saturday, and I became concerned that this might actually be happening. And I inquired, and we proceeded to the point of finding out that none of it existed. None of it was true. Why are you doing this? To be in opposition don't mean you have to distort the facts. Don't mean you have to misrepresent people. You don't have to spread misinformation. You must come here on the basis of facts. And I can tell you, some people come here and they pretend that they have all the love for certain people. And when they had the opportunity, they never demonstrated that love. Never did. Never did. Never did for one moment. Because if you love the people of McCoy, you wouldn't run them around with cutlass when they're not in favor with you. If you love for the people that you claim you love, you would have given them house lots how many years ago? You had 5 years. Imagine the government is trying to add value to lives. And an opposition is telling the people, don't move, don't move, don't move. You can't go to the bank with 2 pigs and 2 black fowl and get a mortgage. You can't go there. 2 pig and 2 black fowl. You got 2 houses in Maca.
Honorable Minister, you should speak to the speaker.
So they are coming here to dramatize and to give this impression that, you know, it is only us who care about the people. Oh, everything is so bad, and things are bad, and this is bad, and that is bad. This must stop now. It must stop now. We are busy building a country for every Guyanese. We are busy building a country in which all its people would benefit. All the people. I will grab you and jump with you. We'll have a swim together. This is all a country in which you have had this country. Let us be fair. We have never had in this country a more responsive government than the People's Progressive Party civic government. We have never had in this country a government that has been moving things for people like the People's Progressive Party civic government. What you had in 5 years was a group of people. And if you take that 8 persons that they granted lands to in that 5 years, 8 people that got lands 3 or 4 times the size of Barbados. 8 persons. And the ordinary man had no house lot. And they had nothing. And they were always about wanting to develop people. And we love people. And we love black people. And we love everyone. And even among yourselves, you never collectively demonstrated true love for Guyanese people. Monies that was supposed to go to poor people under the SLED program was misplaced. Up to now, you can't see this barber shop. I waited for cut me hair. Up to now, I can't get a chance to. I want to go into this fancy barber shop. 960 million allocated to youth. And it just shows how you have no clue of how a budget program operates. A line item that identifies a sum of money for youth development is not the end of it all. It is part of what goes in as the investment to young people across the country. Part, and a small part. When you take into consideration development of grounds and other facilities, scholarships, and so many other initiatives under the government, education, etc., it outweighs by far any 960 million. So my friend Amanza came here the honorable member, you need to speak for yourself. She may not be your friend. The thing is, come here and give the impression as though it was the sum total all, of the investment in youth. We are investing way beyond 960 million in our young people. And yes, the one thing you can rest assured with a People's Progressive Party civic government is what we say we will do, we will do. You don't have to second guess. You don't have to second guess us. Because guess what? Free university education will be a reality in this country before our 5 years is up. It will be.
They increased it. They increased it.
You increase the tuition when you are in government. So I don't understand what you're talking about. We put the tuition, all right, fair enough. We put it there, right? All right, good. Let's take your argument. You love the UG students. Why they remove it? Why they remove it? On top, you went to add on by 35%. What is the rationale behind your criticism of this? That, oh, you put it. You love UG students. Don't you? You love them, right? No. The honorable member said the ability is present, but the willingness is absent. Now, the ability is indeed present. There is no absence of willingness on this side of the house in getting anything that will make Guyanese lives better. No unwillingness. No unwillingness. But I can tell you, we may be unwilling to go into any direction that will take our country downward, and we will make the best choices and the best decisions in keeping with the reality. Now, if I give all of you the oil money now over there, you're going to help, you're going to pay off courts, you're going to buy a wig, this one going to buy some car, and that's how it will go on. You're going to spend it on the fanciful things and not the things that matter to people. Because that's how you operate all the time. You can't manage. You can't manage for people.
And again, Minister, remember you're speaking to the Speaker, so you imputed a lot.
I'm sorry. You can't manage. You're incapable of managing for people. And it's not about how much money that we have, and the bulk of the money hasn't even started to come. But even with the money that we have, you think we are irresponsible, that irresponsible, to just be spending like white all over the place, helter-skelter? We have to do this, and I'm warning you, it is not about just having money and spending it. We have got to be prudent in our management, and this is what you can get and expect from this side of the house. This side of the house. Now, the subsidy for transportation, as she said, the honorable member Amanza, already, because I get impression that you guys were so much distant from each other when in government that you didn't offer this suggestion to the Granger administration in terms of transportation subsidy. But you had a 5B program that really touch just about 4,000 children across this country. And I'm being very generous by saying 4,000. Boots, bicycle, breakfast, whatever it is, all the bees, bangles and bracelets, perhaps, bed sheet. That was your philosophy in terms of a transportation subsidy. How could that, Brown Ram, how could that be anything superior to a Because We Care cash grant where every single child across this country get the opportunity for a grant? How could that? So when we talk, we mustn't only come here and try to sound nice and try to use our accent and all of the different things to fool people, cuffle, you know, the British accent and so forth. You know what I mean? And so we may be the fastest growing economy, but we have to manage not only for today, Mr. Speaker. We have to manage for today and the future of this country. We're not doing this for today only, because you would imagine that we got probably another 55 years here. We can't just manage anyhow. And I'm not saying this to say that a 55 years more in the PPP civic government is because of some magic that will happen. We are working hard for 55 more years.
That's correct.
We are working more hard for 55 more years. Because it's going to be a 5, another 5, a 5, and it will go on. We are, Mr. Speaker, the government that will be there for all Guyanese at all times, and we make sure that our people all progress together. And so if we talk about reckless spending, I don't know, the monies allocated to pensions increase is reckless. The money allocated to school grant program is reckless. So education and health are reckless spending. Monies allocated to road and bridges are reckless. The gas to shore, gas to power project, the harbor bridge, how could these be truthfully be described as reckless spending? And so it really bothers me when I hear the members on the other side speak these things and expect that the whole of Guyana will accept all of the nonsensical arguments and reasonings. Really? And I just want you to know that our people are becoming more and more educated. More and more educated. More and more educated. And that is why you will not be able to succeed with this type of utterances. Mr. Speaker, you know, listening to the the budget presentation, at least we had hoped, Mr. Speaker, that the marathon Shakespearean eloquence and oratory genius of the Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh, Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, which was on glorious display here on the January 16, would have instantly permeated the vacuous minds of the street bullies on that side and stupefied their infantile retort to the cliches and rabble-rousing jargons with which they are best familiar. But unsurprisingly, Mr. Speaker, in the very moment Guyanese of every class, color, and creed began celebrating the rewards of yet another people-focused masterpiece of a budget. We heard the woeful cries of the pompous puff of the person we've come to know as the new opposition leader, whimpering cluelessly and hopelessly about friends, family, and favorites. Mr. Speaker, our proud, intelligent, and ambitious citizenry, who are fully in sync with our One Guyana program, who are excitedly engaged with the national transformation process, and who are already positioning and empowering themselves for a most rewarding future. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, all they'll be hearing over the next few days from the opposition benches are the unintelligible utterances like growth doesn't reflect development, they're not sharing all the oil money like we want them to, of course. And so we can get the treasurer to sign blank checks for our gold bangles and coat shopping. We will hear the infantile cliches about friends and families and the tired, out-of-touch race-baiting rants of people who have already fortified their legitimacy of meaningful representation in the National Assembly. In the just 2 short years of being here, that's all they bring to this august house over the next few days, Mr. Speaker. A cacophony of opaque and poisonous spews. But luckily, Mr. Speaker, conversely, Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, the governing People's Progressive Party civic government, Guyanese will definitely hear from us comprehensive analysis of the macroeconomic parameters of Budget 2023. They will hear pellucid explanations of the fiscal programs and measures of the budget, those that have been intelligently choreographed to construct and fortify a multidimensional economy that is deliberately and intentionally designed to leverage the economic growth spurred from the oil and gas sector to catalyze the traditional sectors and forge emergence of new frontier sectors, all of which will coalesce to create and undergird a sustainable development paradigm for 2030 and beyond. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, Guyanese will hear from this side of the House layman reasoning, simple breakdowns of the nitty-gritty of what every little allocation of resources mean for our country and its citizens. In other words, we will tell them what's in it for them and what's in it for the country as a whole. Mr. Speaker, over the next few days, we will explain to our citizens how consecutive double-digit annual growth in our economy translates into real-term development, how it allowed us to abolish more than 200 new taxes by the APNU AFC government that were placed like an albatross around the people's neck, how it allowed us to reintroduce and rapidly increase the school children's cash grant, which the wicked APNU AFC government took away from our children, how it allowed us to reemploy hundreds of sugar workers who the APNU AFC government unceremoniously sent packing into a wilderness of sure poverty. We will explain how after 5 years of only a few dozen house lots and contracts only for the husband of the APNU AFC minister, we are able to issue thousands rather, of lots in every region of this country, build thousands of low-income and young professional homes all across Guyana, remove VAT on building materials, reduce mortgage interest rates, increase the low-interest mortgage ceiling, provide stone, cement, and steel, and assist with construction management for qualified home builders. Mr. Speaker, we will demonstrate to Guyanese how economic growth is allowing us to create brand new 4-lane highways from Mandela Avenue to Diamond, from Oval to Eccles and on to Suzdike to Mary, a 4-lane highway from Schoonard to Crane, and a new road linkage from Parika to Goshen. Mr. Speaker, because the opposition leader is incapable of explaining how growth is development, and it's not hard to imagine, we will tell the people how growth is allowing us to fully rehabilitate the entire Linden-Suzdike Highway, commence the first leg of the Pan-American Highway from Linden to Maburo Hill, then all the way to Lethem, how we are able to open up a 4-lane passage across the city from Conversation Tree, complete and extend. Please don't take the idea though.
Honorable Minister, you'll need an extension to extend this presentation.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really tempted to ask for 15 minutes, but I will ask for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister McCoy, you may continue to conclude.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we will explain to all the people of this country, since the opposition is incapable of doing that, we will tell them how economic growth is allowing us to build a 4-lane bridge across the Demerara River and the east to west bank and new bridges from Mackenzie to Wismar and from Guyana to Suriname. We will articulate how growth is allowing us to transform the energy sector of our country with unprecedented investment in gas to energy plant, large-scale solar and wind farms, and hydroelectric power. We will explain to the opposition and the people of this country all the measures in the budget that are geared towards advancing and improving the lives of our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Mr. Speaker, these and many other measures are real development, felt directly in the pockets of people, as well as the transformative types of development impacting the macroeconomic outlook of our country. Mr. Speaker, the opposition leader is incapable of comprehending how growth translates into development. We will enlighten him of the catalytic impact of the brackish water shrimp farms developed in Berbice, the mega soya beans plantation at Takama, the rice plantation expansion in the Rupununi, the coconut and livestock improvement programs, and the hemp and millet plantations in the pipeline. Our budget, the people's budget, is about agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, commerce, tourism, infrastructure development in Essequibo, Demerara, Berbice, right across our country, putting monies into the pockets of people, making sure that all across our country, our people can get by and get by steadily. It cannot be a program that addresses everything all at once. It is not a one-shot program. It is a continuous program since coming into government in August of 2020. We have been building on all of the initiatives. We have been fulfilling our manifesto promises. We have been increasing the stock of our public infrastructure. We have been improving the assets of people every single year right across this country. Those who didn't have, now have. Those who don't have all that they want will have it at some time in the future, because our country and our economy is working for all the people and will be a steady movement towards the improvement of people's life. For those race-baiting naysayers on the opposition benches, it will be difficult for you to cloud the reality that thousands of Guyanese are able to educate themselves through thousands of academic scholarships from the Guyana Online Academy of Learning, how thousands of young men and women from Sophia, West Ramville, Linden, and every other part of our country are benefiting from technical vocational skills training program. Mr. Speaker, APNU AFC may not have heard and may not have been able to make the connection between growth and development that has allowed Guyana to once again create history in the global climate change arena by becoming the first country to gain the status of certified carbon credit trader and earn millions of US dollars from the first sale that will directly benefit the development of Amerindian villages and other parts of our country. They may have missed this development, but their apathetic belligerence does not change these facts. They may have also missed the transformative educational reform agenda currently underway, or the world-class health sector that is emerging, and of course, they miss the unprecedented nationwide investment in our sporting and recreational facilities, our cultural heritage, and our young people all together. Speaking of young people, Mr. Speaker, last year, the President established the National Youth Advisory Council. He also brought our men folk together to champion and aid grassroots development, support youth and community development, and support restorative justice across this country. But while these initiatives may be part of the qualitative growth paradigm of the country, they are apparently not development at all if you are to take the opposition serious. Mr. Speaker, who in their right mind would argue that the commencement of the preparatory works for a new high-ground, smart, and carbon-neutral city for Guyana is not growth and development? Are the new bridges in Buxton and Sophia part of the development of those communities? How about the concrete footpaths all over Berbice and in the Victory Valley in Linden, the family recreational promenades, and real green parks, without any green paint, of course, being constructed all across this country?
You will need to wrap up now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can go on and on about the development, so numerous, but time would not permit, of course. We have had, no, I think I've used my time well, very, very well, very well. And I wish I can have some more to use it even more, much better, to do a much better job, of course. I didn't sing here today. But Mr. Speaker, the department in which I have responsibility, the Department of Public Affairs, have focused on expansive training opportunities for our young journalists and our young people in general in the media and communication spheres. I will close, Mr. Speaker, because of time constraint. I know you would love me to go from here. I could only imagine how stinging my presentation was, but I will be back at some time soon in the future. We will be back in other speakers. Look at all the giants here, yet to come.
Minister, you need to look at me because you're really testing patience now.
They're getting me so excited. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank you very much, Guyana, for the attention and understanding our reasoning and arguments around Budget 2023. Thank you, and you can look forward to a budget that will bring betterment to your lives. Thank you, thank you, thank you.